Welcome into Short Shifts, the North American Hockey League podcast. I'm Brandon Hofstra here with Vinny Paracelli, and we're also here with Chuck.
Chuck, how you doing?
He's a little nervous because today is all about him, and tomorrow somebody will be passing him around on the ice. Obviously, we're here. Robertson Cup championship game. As we're recording this on Monday, is tomorrow, which is Tuesday, if I can still read a calendar, which I still can. But we got two teams that have made it out. We have the Central Division, the Austin Bruins, and we have the South Division champions, the Oklahoma Warriors. The event so far has been wild.
Absolutely wild. We've had 5 games, 4 good ones, 1 stinker. Let's be honest. We had 1 stinker, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But it's been electric. The atmosphere has been really good. I thought last night was probably the loudest the building's been all weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, elimination game for both clubs with Maryland and Austin. We'll get into that as we go on here.
Mm-hmm.
But what a weekend so far. Great hockey. Everyone's represented well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. You got fans from Austin that have been here all weekend. I mean, hour and a half, 2-hour drive. You have people from Oklahoma that have come up, Wichita Falls that have come up. There's a lot of Maryland fans here last night. And then Minnesota, the Wilderness, obviously a 2-hour drive as well. So they were in full force as well. But I think we should kind of go back and look at the games. As it started, we had the series where the Warriors against the Wilderness, and then Maryland against Austin. So day 1, game 1, Oklahoma came back as they were down 2-0 going into the third. They said, haha, cute, and they turned things back on, and they ended up scoring 4 unanswered for a 4-2 final, taking that win. And then the later game was a shutout win for Austin as they won 4-0 against Maryland. So day 1, heavy in the goals, but obviously it was kind of setting the tone for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I mean, that first game, I thought Minnesota, and we talked to Garrett Roth before.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to Steve Howard, so we'll get those interviews as we go on. But I thought that first game, Minnesota really kind of controlled the pace of play. I don't know if Oklahoma would say nervous or something,
right.
But there was a lot of they didn't seem like themselves that first period. As the game went on, they got more confidence, and then 3 goals in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. We kind of said it with the Amarillo game in Game 3 of that series.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to flip the switch. They can definitely. They've been they're the highest scoring team in the league for a reason.
Right.
And sometimes Posh, one of the best goaltenders in the league, but all of a sudden you have a couple breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You get that momentum wave going, and all of a sudden forget it.
Yep.
Oklahoma's right in your face, and they're going to keep putting the puck in your net.
Yep.
I thought the MVP was the MVP,
Mm-hmm.
scoring a big goal in a big moment. And then we went on to that second game, and I really think if you haven't seen the highlights, you got to take a look at Matisse Broussard's second goal, where it went off the boards, and then Hackinson kind of came out of the net to play it behind the net, and Broussard shoots in an empty net.
Yeah.
I thought that kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
in game number 1 of that series. I think I'm not gonna say Maryland, put their heads down, but you're the way Austin plays is kind of suffocating.
Right.
With their forecheck.
Right.
And you're doing all these things right, and you might feel that hey, we're getting some momentum, and then right off the bat, start all right, we're down 1-0, new period, here we go, and it's in your net.
Right.
And you're just
just very deflating.
And you're what are we gonna do about that?
Yeah.
There's nothing we could do. Yeah, you said very deflating goal there, and I think that kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. The Bruins cruised in that one 4-0. Wimkin with the big shutout, 27 saves. I mean, Austin only put up 18 shots, but they were 2 for 3 in the power play again, and their power play has been absolutely electric in these playoffs. In the playoffs, they are rocking at a 37% clip.
Not bad.
Now Maryland shockingly is at 50, but I don't think they didn't show up here.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Bruins power play has been really, really good, and you can't give them that chance.
No. Nope.
And with Oklahoma, you got Del Greco, you got Brendan Williams, who had a hat trick in Game 2, which we'll talk about. But
Lawson Body with the assists all over the place.
But you got a bunch of guys that are kind of known commodities.
Mm-hmm.
Where with the Bruins, I feel like yes, you have a Walter Zachary, you have a Gavin Morrissey, but then after that,
you got wild cards.
It's kind of like a by committee kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the Broussard twins and Jackson Luther, that line's been really good for them so far throughout this playoffs, and it's just Giuliani will come up with a big goal here and there. You got Solani, mixing in a goal here in this tournament. They can hurt you in a number of different ways, and you really just don't realize it. So you kind of we don't get to see everyone in action all the time in person.
Right. Yep.
And then when we get here and we see them that guy's pretty good. That guy's pretty good. Oh, they got a lot of good guys.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're in the
Sneaky.
championship game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's move on to day 2. Oklahoma would finish off the Minnesota Wilderness, a 3-1 final. They would score in the first, silent second period. They'd add 2 more. Again, that's the game where Williams had the hat trick. Pardon me. And then Minnesota with a lone goal late in the game, about 42 seconds left. So Oklahoma undefeated in the postseason. 8-0, correct? 9-0 now?
8-0.
8-0. So they solidified their spot, and that was back on Saturday. Again, we're recording here on Monday. Then we would go to the game 2 between the Battle of the Bears, where Maryland would win a close one, a 2-1 final, to even that series, forcing a game 3, which we'll talk about here coming up. But any takeaways from day 2 of game 2s, Vinny?
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Williams is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know Lawson Body set up every one of those goals, so obviously he's really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really was impressed, actually, by Daniel Duras. And I don't think he gets maybe the credit he deserves because of how not offensive-minded, but how good they are on offense.
Mm-hmm.
He made a couple of really big saves. I think he had a breakaway early in the second period that he stopped. And I just think I don't want to say their goaltending was like the wild card, but like, they had Cameron Corpy through most of the year, and then it was Duras and Johnson. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Johnson started the series and then got pulled against Amarillo. It's been Duras' crease ever since, really. But I just think that when we talked about all the different goaltenders that are in these playoffs, and you looked at, if you look at all the top goalies in the playoffs, and regular season, not the playoffs, regular season, Wimkin is number 5 in goals against. Posh is number 6, and Hackinson was number 9.
Right.
Daniel Duras was right there at number 10, but he didn't have, he had 38 games played. But for whatever reason, he wasn't the guy. Because like I said, we had Corpy, you had Johnson, you had other guys there that were very good.
Mm-hmm.
And at these other places, they were the guy. I mean, Isaac Posh started 44 games.
Right.
I mean, he was the guy rocking a 926 save percentage. So, like, I think he just kind of slipped through the radar because of how good and how offensive Oklahoma could be.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been really good in this tournament, and I think he will be a key for them obviously tomorrow night.
100%.
I mean, goalie could steal a game, and that can go both ways with Wimkin or Duras.
100%. Maryland, again, they won that game 2-1, forcing a game 3 of Battle of the Bears. Anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I thought Maryland just played like they were affected by nerves. I don't care what anyone says. I thought pucks were bouncing off sticks on passes.
Mm-hmm.
They not stopping on lost pucks. Like they couldn't you could just see it in their play. And I thought game 2 they came ready to go and had a new mindset, different attitude, and I thought they controlled that game for the most part. I think Wimkin's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I know the shots that don't agree with me with the 35-21 range for the Bruins, but I just felt that Maryland had the better of the chances. I thought all of Austin's chances were from the outside. Although, 7 power plays, that will help with your shot totals up. But Hackinson was really good that night as well.
So let's fast forward now to game 3 of Battle of the Bears, the only game 3 that we had so far, well, at all, I should say, and here in Minnesota, but a final score of 4-2 of Austin winning. You mentioned the way Maryland played in game 2. I think that was flip-flopped into game 3, where it was all perimeter play. They couldn't get in the middle. Austin was doing a great job of just clogging up the neutral zone, keeping them out of in front of the goaltender. They have how many guys on that team are 6 foot plus, so they should park his butt right in front of the goalie and take the eyes away? How many power plays do they have? So it's just opportunities I think that Maryland couldn't capitalize on. Austin did. Again, Zacher, we talked about him. Solani, you brought him up as well. Giuliani, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
You're Italian.
Giuliani.
Okay. You got to say it.
Giuliani.
You got to say it. All right. 4-2 game, so Austin moves on, but your takeaway from that game 3 last night?
Well, I mean, the key for Austin getting that first goal a couple minutes in, right away, setting the tone. I thought if Austin could play with a lead, the way they play that forecheck and the way they kind of they'll block a shot with put their face right in front of it, that's definitely conducive to them playing with a lead. I don't know. They don't know if they have the offensive firepower to play from behind like in Oklahoma, where they could just hit you with 3 goals in 3 minutes. Getting that first goal is huge, and then after Maryland tied it, getting that second one on the power play, converting on their chance. We've mentioned how that power play is rocking at a 37% clip. That'll get it done for you. Then that third period, they get that other early goal, go up by 2.
Yep. The
fluker goes in for Maryland. Now all of a sudden, oh man, we got a game again. But Austin kept battling, and then DeCiderio kind of delivers the the final dagger to
Yep.
get them up by 2 with just 5 minutes left. And then, Wimkin, I think, had, maybe 3 or 4 highlight reel saves
Yeah, he did.
in the final, 5 minutes. You got to give Maryland full credit. They did not go down without a fight.
Yep, I agree. So
Tomorrow.
here we are.
Yep.
Tomorrow we have the Austin Bruins, the 3rd seed, against the number 1 seed, the Oklahoma Warriors. Winner takes all. Will Chuck be wearing orange? Will he be wearing yellow? Will he be a Warrior? Will he be a Bruin? We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
He's whispering over here. But I don't speak trophy.
It'll be the first title for either team.
Yep.
Obviously, the Warriors in their 3rd season. Bruins been around a little longer. This is the Bruins' 3rd chance. They made it to back when it was a 3-game series. They made it in 14 and 15. They played in the longest NHL playoff game of all time in that Game 1 of the 15 series.
Please knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm okay with one.
Yeah, add a little drama into it.
Yeah, there has not been an overtime. The Robertson Cup has not been won in overtime since 2012 when the Tornado did it.
You've been hanging out with Alex too much. I can tell. You're turning into a stat guy,
Well,
and you're already talking about the Texas Tornado.
Well,
Alex, we know you're listening.
with the playoff history, you just got to go back into the the tornado. All right, another tornado fact that I put Alex. I put Alex on this one. I didn't do this one.
Okay.
The last time a team went undefeated throughout the entire playoff run was the 03-04 tornado. So
I heard that yesterday.
yes, Oklahoma's got a chance to do that as they have not been defeated so far in the playoffs. One more game to go for them. The Bruins, like we said, 3rd try at it.
Mm-hmm.
One game though, 60 minutes.
Do or die.
Everyone's got their own opinion.
Right.
Obviously, we've seen the comments on Facebook. Oh,
Really?
it should be best of 5, best of this, best of that. You know what? The college does it one game.
It's the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl is one game. It's one night where you've got to be the best team.
Yep.
And if you truly are the best team, then you should, be able to put it together for 60 minutes.
Puck don't lie.
Puck do not lie. Yeah, puck does not lie. It's going to be a heck of an environment. I'm really anticipating a big Austin crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a 2-hour drive.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's a Tuesday, but school's out, right?
Whatever. We have those things made up. Please excuse, underline.
We should actually put that out.
We should make those.
Yes, that's a task for later today.
Especially if it goes to double, triple, quadruple overtime.
Yes. No, yeah. Like I said, I'm good with one. Give me one.
Yep.
7 minutes. Call it good. Then we're out of here before midnight. I don't.
Love it.
I mean, we got bedtimes too. I mean, you guys got a flight early Wednesday morning. So
I wouldn't say early.
Okay, that's.
But we leave Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thoughts? I mean, trying to dissect both these teams. We talked about them in their previous matchups, but how do you think they're going to face against each other? I feel like they're kind of built almost the same. Great goaltending on the backside for both of them. Big D. I mean, you got Owen Baumgartner, who I think kind of has been standing out to me for Oklahoma, kind of an undersized defenseman. But they got guys that can put the puck in the back of the net up front, too.
Well, I mean, Baumgartner was the one that made the whole play for the game winner against Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
He walks around a guy at the blue line, brings it in down low, and then finds Del Greco right in the crease for the game winner in double overtime. But I was thinking, so I thought about this last night when Maryland and Austin was playing. If Maryland had won, I thought we'd see kind of a more back and forth game because we'd have the 2 highest scoring teams in the league in the championship game. Austin is not one of the top scoring teams in the league, but they obviously are very good defensively. So I think we're gonna see. It's gonna really come down to who can establish their game.
Right.
Like Austin's gonna want to probably clog things up, get after on the forecheck, really make life for Oklahoma defensemen miserable. Oklahoma, to play their game, it's a little more up tempo, get pucks up the ice, and try and score as many goals as you can.
Sorry to cut you off, but looking at top scorers right now here in the postseason, out of the top 10, Oklahoma has 4 of them, Austin with 3 of them. So you got Zacher at number 2, you have Gavin Morrissey at number 6, then you go down to number 10, Austin Solani. But the thing is, from number 2 to 10, it's all about the same exact points. It's 11 points for all these guys to 10 to 9. So it's equal. I think this game is a toss-up. It's a coin flip. It's, like I said earlier, I think they're kind of the same team in a sense. And obviously both hungry to take this bad boy home.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, the best 2 teams in the league.
They're
the only ones left.
They are.
Austin, I just think Austin, they can get. I mean, both teams are deep. Like you kind of said with Austin, like Walter Zacker's got 8 goals this postseason. Gavin Morrissey, under the radar, really.
Yeah.
He's got 11 points. 10 of them are assists.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously a heck of a playmaker. Solani was kind of quiet in the first 2 games, made his presence known in that last game last night, and then same with Giuliani. Your best players got to be your best players,
100%.
and that's really going to come down to if that top guys can show. I mean, MVP of the league, Joey Del Greco, scoring 2 goals, the game winner and the one that puts it away. Williams with the hat trick. At this point, 2 nights ago.
Right. I think another thing that I've noticed as well is both these teams have not been in the penalty box much.
I mean, they've been
much
compared
to who they were playing against.
Yeah, well, the game last night, or even I would say the last 2 games for Maryland and Austin, that was a playoff series.
Yeah.
Those teams did not like each other by the end of it.
Yeah, there was a little tooth and nail.
You need a little hate. You need a little hate in a playoff series. And like, if you go back in the years of the Robertson Cup championship, last year there wasn't a lot of hate between New Jersey and Anchorage. You just didn't. But the year before that, we had Aberdeen and Shreveport, and there was a whole lot of hate. That was one of the greatest games I think there ever has been in the Robertson Cup. Like, the first period was 0-0, and it was the most electric first period I think I've ever watched in junior hockey.
I feel like you've told me that line.
The exact line.
Verbatim.
That's probably one of my favorite games I've ever seen in junior hockey.
Yeah.
Just the way, like, they went after each other, claw, scratch, and kill for this cup.
Yeah, right,
I mean, then that's what you need in this time of year. So I think I'm excited to see how they go at each other and see. Yeah, you got to stay disciplined. There's the line. You can't cross it. You can get up to it. Just don't cross it. Don't go in the box. I guess it's a little bit of a spoiler, but we have the coaches mic'd up for those that don't know.
Right.
Giuliani took a slashing penalty last night, and Steve Howard said, "Never again. Like, you got to be better. Like, play because I think it was 7-8 minutes left, and they're only up by one at the time.
Point,
and it's like, whoa, you got to be smart.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. He cross-checked in the side of the head. The ref didn't call it. You can't retaliate.
Yep.
You're gonna get
you can't get penalties with the stick.
No.
Stick infractions.
I've seen, I think, maybe 2 good penalties where there's the interference call. The Catalano was about to break up the left wing wall, and Malinsky just grabbed him. It's like, no, you're not going on a breakaway. Forget it. That was one of the good ones I've seen.
Yeah.
You got to be disciplined, and it's gonna. Both power plays are good. Oklahoma had a good power play. I mean, it's not. Austin's is hotter right now, but you can't give teams these chances.
Nope.
You can't. It's just you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and then you're going to be kicking yourself all the way home.
Yep, 100%. So good interviews lined up. We're going to toss it right over. We talked to Garrett Roth. We talked to Steve Howard. So we're going to shoot it right over to those guys. Joined here with head coach Garrett Roth of the Oklahoma Warriors. Coach, first off, congratulations. Made it out of the South. You made it here now to the championship game. Just talk about that, how cool of an experience it's been, and leading up to, as we're recording this a day before the championship game, but just talk about getting here.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been an awesome experience. This group since day one has done everything we've asked as a coaching staff, and they've taken ownership of the team, and of the locker room, and so it's something where that our group has come together. They've really taken onus of the team and wanted to accomplish something special this year. And, have consistently through the course of the season continued to get better. And they've worked and they've competed every single day. And it's made coming to the rink every single day really pleasurable. Mm-hmm. I mean, our guys, every time they come to the rink, we get there an hour and a half before practice. There's smiles, they're ready to go. There's yucking it up in the locker room. And, that type of environment helps create success. It creates culture, and, when players want to come to the rink, they want to get better. Mm-hmm. It makes for a 9-month season seem a lot less long, per se, or lengthy.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to keep going.
Oh, no, me too. Yeah, I think you're still rolling.
Well, I mean, your club is so deep. You got a lot. Everyone can contribute. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before the event started, but just talk again about how deep this team is and how it's not just relying on 1 or 2 guys. It's every guy can contribute and make an impact and have a crucial role on this club.
Well, and that's something that we strive for at the beginning of the season. We want to evolve our roster to where we can roll 4 lines, we can roll 7D or 13 forwards if they're playing. Not every night our guys going to get the amount of ice time that they feel like they deserve or that they want. But over the course of the season, as a coaching staff, we want to make sure that our guys are developing in practice and then getting opportunities in games to showcase what they've done over the course of practice and over the course of the season. So try to get every single guy opportunities to play on the power play. We shuffle the lines pretty much every weekend, so guys are creating new chemistry with guys. They're getting opportunities that maybe the weekend before they didn't. And I think it just allows for players when the week begins to have a little bit more energy, knowing that they could be on the quote-unquote top line. They might get moved down in the lineup a little bit. They might get a power play opportunity or penalty kill. But as long as players understand that there's opportunity there and it comes down to how hard they work and compete, I think they're going to give everything they have to try to continue to get better.
The playoff run so far for you guys has been, I don't want to say simple, but you had 2 nice wins against Amarillo, had a huge comeback in Game 3. Then you had 2 games against Shreveport where you're tied going to the third, but then you kind of took advantage in that final 20. This first game against Minnesota, you couldn't solve the puzzle of Isaac Posh, and then all of a sudden, bang! I mean, you guys always seem to find that way where it's like you kind of just flip the switch and you figure it out and just get it done. I mean, what does it say about your club that you can battle through that adversity and then find a way to overcome the obstacle in front of you?
Well, and our road has been really difficult. Amarillo was a really tough opponent. They play physical. They're heavy. And they made it really hard for us through the neutral zone to pick up speed. And in the offensive zone, they did a great job boxing out and getting our sticks. And, in Game 2, we had a season-ending injury to William Ulrich, who's, probably one of the best guys on the face-off dot in the league with close to a 70% win percentage. And so, we had to shuffle some things around, and that's part of the depth that we were able to create is, a guy outside the lineup comes in and plays significant minutes to continue to help us win hockey games. We were down going into the third period against Amarillo, and the guys in the locker room just found a way to pull together and be able to start creating momentum for ourselves in that game, and came back and won an OT. And I think, that kind of helped springboard us into the next series against Shreveport, who had a really tough, grueling series against Lone Star that went 5 games, and I think they played what accumulated to about a 7-game series. And so we knew that the first weekend was going to be important for us since they just got done with a Game 5 on Monday, and we needed to get off to a quick start, and our guys came out, and we did a really nice job in those first 2 games. It gave us a little bit more momentum and confidence going into that Game 3 that if we can take care of business on Friday night, we'd put ourselves in a really good position, obviously to get here. And so Shreveport was really good on Friday night. Duras was huge between the pipes for us, made some big saves, timely saves, and we were just kind of able to stay alive in that game until the second overtime when, game changers ended up making game-changing plays for us. And, Baumgartner tippy-toed at the blue line, laterally picking up speed, and found Del Greco backdoor, which was a huge goal that sent us here. So, heading into this weekend, our guys had a lot of confidence. We continued to get better every single game. And I think, obviously the Wilderness knew what their game plan was coming in, try to play fast, put pressure on us right from the get-go, play physical, and their game plan was executed to a T in that first period. Right. We were off our game a little bit, and a lot of it probably had to do with how hard and how well they were playing. Could have been attributed to some nerves on our behalf as well. But in the second, we started to settle it down a little bit, started playing better hockey, getting closer to our brand of hockey. And then in the third period, they took it to us a little bit. The first 2 or 3 minutes had some chances. Daniel made a few more big saves. And, we just knew that we needed one bounce to go our way to be able to generate that momentum and that belief that we've been able to come back in games all season long. And we killed off a penalty, and when Nelly came out of the box, energy stretched the ice. Horsager did an unbelievable job on the half wall, protecting a puck, finding the weak side of the ice. And then it was just our talented players taking over at that point. Nelson, did an escape, body came underneath, little drop pass, Lawson body wrapped it, and Nelson went to the net like we asked our guys to do and was able to elevate it over the pad. And it was the bounce that we needed at that time. And it was a huge goal for us. The next shift, Nelson was out there. He gave us another power play. I think in the league he's drawn the most penalties in the whole league, close to 40. And it's just because he plays with energy, and he's always moving his feet, and he's a very tough player to defend. And he did just that down in the corner, going to the half wall. They took a penalty, and our power play executed, and we were able to score and tie that game up. So getting that third goal by Del Greco was just a play where we went to the net. A nice shot by Baumgartner just to get it to the net. We had traffic, so I don't know if Bosch was able to see it and be able to get his stick on it to, get that puck to the corner. It went off his pillow, and Del Greco did a great job rolling off his checker in front off the defenseman, and then giving a little how she going and little backhand one-timer and open twine. So it was, it was a big game for us, and the excitement that we were able to generate out of that game definitely carried us over into the second game, where we understood that we had to come with pressure, and we had to play fast to start the game. We had the momentum on our side. They have a great D-core. They have a coaching staff that we knew would make some changes for that game, and we wanted to try to dictate the pace of the game right from the get-go. And fortunately, our guys had a lot of jump early on. We were able to get that goal in the first period and then kind of manage the game the rest of the way. So, they were a heck of a hockey team. It was a really tough challenge for us, and we're just excited to be able to represent the South in the championship game here. And our guys are eager and excited to get going. It was nice to get that extra day of rest. Got to hang out a little bit and decompress before we start really gearing it up today and tomorrow for a one-game elimination.
Yeah. Let's talk about you a little bit more. You've been around this league since 2010 as a coach behind the bench. You've been a part of the Robertson Cup, whether it was an assistant, director of player personnel, and stuff like that. But you're in your third year now as a head coach. Last 2 years, Wichita. Obviously, the team is moving out to Oklahoma. But just talk about the feeling now that you have of being the bench boss, of being here, and you're calling all the shots on the bench, and just this experience and your past as well, being here at the Robertson Cup.
Well, I started in Aberdeen as an assistant coach right out of college, and Greg Odie and Pete Sauer gave me an opportunity to get into coaching, and it was a call from Tom Briggle, who was helping them with the expansion process and spoke highly and was able to help get me a shot in coaching, and then was there for a couple of years. And then obviously I went to school with Lane Sedevy, played in Bismarck for 2 years in juniors, and so there was a fit there, or an opportunity there, to go be his assistant and work alongside of one of my best friends. And it was a great opportunity, and it was a big-time learning experience. I think, my first 2 years, my personality was a lot different. I was a lot more hot-headed, I think.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was something where, you kind of a little bit too emotional, yelling and screaming, trying to have guys do things a certain way, right? And it was the time in Bismarck where I was able to kind of feel how Lane does things and kind of take a little bit more of his demeanor as far as his laid-back approach, how he deals with his players. And, it was through that 8 years with him that, we came to the Robertson Cup a couple times. Never had a chance to hoist the trophy, but a lot of learning experiences along the way, and those 8 years really molded who I am as a coach, and I'll be forever indebted to the organization, Lane and Tom, for taking a chance, bringing me back, and giving me that opportunity to continue to grow as a coach. And it was 8 awesome years. Families there, met my wife, and so it was a great 8 years. And then Marianne gave me an opportunity to help her build the expansion team in Wichita Falls, and it was an opportunity that when I was in Bismarck, I loved it. I was not really pursuing any other opportunities. I was pretty set because I loved the role of helping players develop, the video side of things, recruiting. That's always been a big time passion for me once I got into coaching, and so to take that leap of faith to be a head coach wasn't really necessarily something that I was trying to pursue. Got a phone call and got an opportunity to get an interview, and took the position in Wichita Falls just because I felt it was a really great situation. Marianne had a vision. As an owner, she wants to do it the right way.
Right.
And she wants to take care of the players. And I think that's a huge part of junior hockey, is making sure that the players are number one, winning second. Mm-hmm. And so everything revolves around making sure that you can help players develop, not only on the ice, but mentally as well, and off the ice, and putting them in positions to have success, to figure out how to deal with adversity when times are tough, that they have someone there that, they can rely on, that cares about them and their family as people, and not just as a player or an asset, right? So, was able to bring another one of my really close and best friends, Wade Chido, our director of player personnel, with us here to Wichita Falls into the relocation of Oklahoma City, and we wouldn't be here today without him. He's done an amazing job. He has such a great eye for talent. A bunch of our players have come through his resources and his eyes, identifying players, and I'm forever indebted to Wade for the work he's done and the friendship that we've had, because there was a lot of trying times through the 3 years, a lot of ups and downs, and wondering if, especially early on when we were trying to build our team through that COVID season, a month in, we couldn't get anyone to tender with us. We couldn't get anyone on board to believe to come to an expansion team, that we were going to be able to create a culture and have success. And, there's a lot of times where we were talking, did we make a mistake, right? But, we had faith that as long as we continued to try to do things the right way, and we could sell our personalities and our vision and what we want to do as a coaching staff and as a team with players, we knew that if we could get that first group to get to Wichita Falls, and we could start building that culture and show players that, there's more about junior hockey than just winning hockey games.
Right.
There's a lifestyle there. There's relationships, and that's the biggest part of junior hockey, is building those relationships and getting to know the families. And, those are going to be things that last forever,
right.
Those relationships. The wins and losses, you're going to forget about them once the season's over. Sometimes when the weekend's over, you don't even remember what's going on, because it's such a blur.
Yeah.
But those relationships that you can build and grow over the course of a season, that's second to none. And so, through the 3 years, we've continued to bring in really high character, hardworking kids. And a lot of the players in our locker room have helped us with the recruiting process. We go through our guys, and, if there's a kid that we're going after, and, a player in the locker room knows that kid and he doesn't feel that he'd be a good fit for us, we're going to pass.
Right.
It's not necessarily all about talent. A lot of time it's just about having the right group of guys in that locker room that are willing to put their egos aside and, become a team.
Yeah. You talked about the player development aspect. You talked about building a culture. You talked about getting guys to buy into the vision. I know I don't want to speak on too many one-off players, but William Lawsonbody, to me, that I've seen, especially now in person the last couple of nights, been there for 3 years. How the heck is this kid not committed to Division I? He's a heck of a player, and the little bit I've gotten to talk to him, he's a heck of a human being.
Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest with you. He's been one of the most consistent players in this whole league for 3 years. He wears the C for a reason. He does things the right way. He takes care of his body. He treats his body and what he does like a pro. William Lawsonbody, Garrett Horsager, Brendan Williams, those three have been catalysts of our team. All three of them are uncommitted, and I think, I don't know if it's the COVID thing that pushed back the 5 years and there's not as many opportunities this year for age outs, but those three guys deserve an opportunity to prove that not only can they be part of a Division I program, but they can be an impactful one, not only in the locker room culturally, but on the ice. They're willing to do whatever it takes to have success, and they've shown it, for as long as they've played in junior hockey, but especially this weekend. They've been the force that has led this group to this championship game on Tuesday. They've willed themselves and this team to get to this point, and I can't say enough things about those three individuals. And I know you brought up William, what they've meant to our organization and what they've meant to me as a coach. I've learned just as much from those guys as I hope that they've learned from me. And so I love this group. Every single one of our players has a piece of my heart, and it's fun to come to the rink every single day and help these players develop. But To answer your question again, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you talk about Williams too. Just hat trick and the series clinching game, not a big deal.
Nope.
Body had 3 helpers. He's had been an impact guy both ends of the ice. Like it's mind blowing, honestly, because like you said, those 3 guys, and I forgot about Horsager too. He's that back end guy that just gets it done. And I mean, you got so many good players. Like we talked about the depth in that team. Like that the whole. I mean, I wouldn't say the whole team is Division I right now, but I mean, every player in the team has been impressive so far. And I mean, maybe that's why they're undefeated in the playoffs so far. I don't know. Like they're doing really well.
And they play in every situation, right? And I know Lawson Body's at 22, 23 minutes a night for us. He's great on the dot, great defensively, accountable. As a coach, when you're protecting a lead in the last 2 minutes and you're up a goal, I think a lot of times you put the guys out there that you trust and that you have belief in that will get the job done. And I think, when players move on from our league, they're not always going to go and be a top line guy. They're not going to be a power play guy. They're going to have to earn their stripes in that locker room. They have to prove themselves to that coaching staff that they're dependable players. And all 3 of those guys are guys that are out there the last minute protecting a lead. Obviously, Williams got his hat trick being out there when they pulled the goalie. And, those are just opportunities that they weren't given. As a coaching staff, we just don't give players those opportunities because they're leading our team in points or, because they're an age out. When games are on the line, as a coach, you put the guys out there that can get the job done and that have proven that. And those are 3 guys that are out there at the end of every single game. And I think that speaks volumes for not only what you see on the offensive side, but their accountability to the logo and to make sure that they're willing to do whatever it takes to win hockey games, blocking shots, checking back to the net to get sticks, and doing all the little things to help a team win a hockey game. And I think that's the part that sometimes might not go as noticed out of those 3 guys.
Right.
But they're players that I think any program at the Division I level would be extremely lucky to have.
100%.
Yeah.
It's obvious that everybody wants to end the season taking this guy right behind me home. But 2 of 3 awards already this season, regular season champions, the champions of the South Division. That's got to be something to hang your hat on so far this season. Obviously, we're not done, but winning that trifecta would be unbelievable. But just kind of reiterate what it meant to win the regular season, being the best team in the league. You guys went 44-14, 1-1, 90 points, and winning the South Division. Like, how proud are you of that squad? And just technically your first year in Oklahoma, but 3rd year as a team in a whole.
Really proud of our group, and I don't think we've allowed it to set in yet. Even I think we were more as a coaching staff excited about winning the league and the division, with 3 weeks to a month left of the season, so that we could then really focus on playoff hockey because we'd been there 2 years prior. We weren't able to come out of the South, and we wanted to do things a little bit different this year, and it allowed us to be able to do that and have the freedom as a coaching staff not to worry about the wins and losses the last 6 to 8 games and be able to really focus on what we felt we needed to do for our group to be prepared game 1 of playoffs. And so I think those awards and the recognition are well deserved. Our team has absolutely earned those awards. But it's something that, even in the locker room, it's our guys don't show that excitement like they really achieved something special. And I know a lot of coaches will say, at the beginning of the year, you set your goals and you say, Robertson Cup's number 1, right? And that wasn't really one of our goals at the beginning. Our goal was to continue to get better and play our best brand of hockey by the end of the season, to be able to come out of our division and give us an opportunity to be here. And I think over the course of the first couple of months, I think our group evolved to the point where, as a coaching staff, you knew that there was something inside that locker room that was just maybe a little bit different. And we've had 3 years where our groups have been extremely close. That first year was a special group. They all came together from different places, different teams. They bought into one another and what we wanted to do as an organization, as a team. Last year, our team did the same thing, but it was just, I think this year there was just a different feel in that locker room. And I think part of it was how we won some games down through the first couple of months coming back. And it had that feel that at any moment we could flip the switch on and just be able to kind of take control of a game. And not every team has that ability. And so, it was really cool to see the evolution of this hockey team and how they've come together and worked to get to this point. And I think it was probably, around January 1st, we had a loss. And as a group, we were pretty upset about it.
Right.
We knew that we had a chance to try to get into the first place in our division. Felt like at that time we let it slip away, and we looked ourselves in the mirror. The players did, as a coaching staff, we did, and we wanted to be better.
Right.
And as a coaching staff, we knew that the group, as a coaching staff, we couldn't let our group down. We had to do whatever we could to continue to push them, to get them for them to be able to play their best hockey at the right time. And it was one of those season-changing moments as a coaching staff where you realize this is the opportunity,
right,
and we're not going to let it go without a fight. And that was about the time we started talking about championship. We wanted to continue to talk about it so that it wasn't something that was unexpected, or it wasn't something that would shock us if we had the opportunity to get here.
Right.
We wanted to build that belief that it's attainable, and we have the group to do it. It's going to be hard work. It's going to take time. It's going to take sacrifice. But we knew that group in that locker room had the opportunity to get here, and we were going to make sure that we did everything we could to instill that belief that that trophy could be ours if we put our minds to it and we worked hard and competed.
All right, let's talk about tomorrow. Austin, 60 minutes, separates you in that cup right there. What do you know about him? Obviously, you have a little bit of familiarity with Steve, playing against him in that Central Division with Bismarck, but obviously different group now. But what do you know about the club? What have you seen on tape? And
they had the day off yesterday. You got to watch them live.
Yeah, you got to watch them live. So and they had to play the extra game, so only get the 1 day off instead of 2. That could be a factor tomorrow night. But your thoughts on the Bruins?
They're a really good hockey team. Steve's done a great job in this league. He spoke to it in his press conference yesterday, but I knew him when I was in Aberdeen. He was one of the coaches that he was with Flint, and we were working with players, trying to give some of his players an opportunity. And it was cool to see him go through the league, NA3, and then to get his opportunity as a head coach in our league. And he's done an absolute fantastic job. Every year they're a competitive team. They're competing for a division championship. Structurally, they're really sound. They're physical. They're hard to play against in their defensive zone. They have a lot of talent, a lot of players that we're familiar with. In the recruiting pool of players that we look at, we're very familiar with their group, and it's going to be an exciting matchup. It's one game take all, and there's going to be a lot of adrenaline. There's going to be a lot of emotion, and so I think a big part of it is trying to get our guys to get to our brand of hockey as quickly as possible. And I think if we can do that within the first 5 minutes, and kind of dictate the pace a little bit and play to our strengths, hopefully we can build that momentum and springboard into having a really nice night. But we know they're a formidable opponent. They're going to be a very tough team to play against. But we're excited about the challenge.
One more quick one for you. 2 cities, 1 fan base, awesome ownership. From top down, everybody with your guys' organization has been fantastic in helping us with everything this season as well. But I'm expecting a ruckus crowd tomorrow. You got Austin right down the road. You guys, they've been traveling well from whether it's Texas or it's Oklahoma. But what do you want to say to everybody from the top down to the fans, everything in between?
It's been incredible.
Yeah.
The circumstances that we were in Wichita Falls, we knew early in the season last year that it wasn't going to be a long-term solution, just with some of the situations with ice and that. But we had a very passionate fan base in Wichita Falls while we were there. And to see them stay on board and make that 2-hour trek on Friday and Saturday nights to come to our games in Oklahoma City just speaks to the volumes of what that city is as far as genuine people,
Right.
people that care. They wanted to be part of something and have a team of their own that they can call theirs. And even with us going to Oklahoma City, it's pretty cool to still see them embrace us as their team.
Yeah.
It's special as a coaching staff. I know our players know how awesome it is. We still have our players are still talking to their billets regularly.
Yep.
We have our hardcore, passionate fan base that still comes to games on the road, everything, and it's been special. Those 2 years in Wichita Falls wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah.
And then having the opportunity to come and relocate to Oklahoma City, where the facilities are a little bit more conducive to what we need to continue to build our brand and to give our players the opportunity to continue to have success and grow and develop. And Larry Donovan, the rink manager, Dr. Voda, who owns the building, and their whole staff has done a fantastic job welcoming us and making us feel that we're a huge part of the community.
Yeah.
And then we had Hockey Day Oklahoma to kick off the home opening weekend, and the place was packed.
Yep.
And we have about 400 youth hockey players in the community, and their families opened up their homes to billet, and our players have gone out on the ice and built those relationships with the youth out
Yep.
there. And our fan base in Oklahoma City has continued to grow every single weekend, every single game, and so it's the best of two worlds for us, really, because you have two communities that are pulling for us. I'm sure there's going to be a number of people from both communities that will be here tomorrow night cheering us on, and hopefully we've made them proud with our performance this year, and hopefully we can give them something to celebrate after tomorrow.
We'll say that if they did win, that would be one long parade route to go from Wichita Falls to Oklahoma
Oh,
City.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Funny side note, I was at a Stars game, and there was a woman in front of me wearing a Oklahoma Warriors. Actually, at the time, it was Wichita Falls jersey, and she was a billet mom, and she had fantastic things to say about you and the organization and all that stuff. So everybody always has good things to say about you. We appreciate you being on here, and good luck and hell of a year so far.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the time, fellas.
Joined here with Steve Howard, head coach of the Austin Bruins. Coach, first off, congratulations. You guys have made it to the Robertson Cup championship game. Decent feeling, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're excited, that's for sure.
Let's just kind of go through this postseason for you guys. You started things off against Minot, then took care of St. Cloud. You come here, go to Game 3 against Maryland, win against them. But just talk about this road here to the final game.
I mean, honestly, playoffs in our division started a couple of months ago, so it's been a tough deal. Like, just to keep the guys, I guess, motivated down that end of the regular season stretch. Our guys are, they want to win every game, but when you're going up against teams that already have their backs against the wall, or they're fighting for a playoff spot, which, I mean, look at Aberdeen. Aberdeen, in that very last game, if they would have lost, they would have been out of the playoffs. But then they won, and they had home ice advantage, and we were in second place. How does that work, right?
Right.
So it was a crazy ending to the Central Division. So talk about playoffs, we got to go way back for us. Like, every team we got, it was like we were getting their best game, and it was a lot of fun down the stretch, and I think that's what really got us prepared for the actual playoffs. We tried to rest guys here and there, not all at once, which was something I think we learned from last year. A lot of teams tried to rest their guys right at the end, and actually had a former NAHL coach, he lent me some advice, and just said, you know what, like, keep your foot on the gas down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing a couple of years back, and it didn't work out for them. And I was like, yeah, we did that last year. So we just kept the foot on the gas and kept going, and we thought it paid off.
Yeah. Yeah. You gonna share who said that? You keeping that secret?
No, it was it was Lenny Childs with Union.
Right
He came in to watch our guys, and he said that him and Parker, when they finished first in Janesville, they were thinking, oh, let's rest guys at the end there. You can't go up or down, and it throws your mojo off. And I took that to heart. I said, you know what? We did that last year. We rest 7 guys in that last game. Then we got bounced in the first round. We got swept. And a little bit of that and a little bit of just, we talked last year about making playoffs. You got to make playoffs. Everybody's always talking about making playoffs, and that's right. Like that's a goal, but that was kind of like we never really talked about the Robbie as much as we should have, and that's why in the interview the other day I said, yeah, I printed off like 4 life-size, like not even life-size. They fit on our entire door in our locker room, in our video room. We got the Robertson Cup hanging in there. So every day when the guys go on the ice, when they watch video, they're seeing the cup. And we just changed our attitude around. This is what we play for. We want to get to this game here, and it's still one more step.
You talked about how you've been playing playoff hockey essentially for a while because, like you said, every team had their back against the wall. The Central Division as a whole, though, there's no easy nights.
Gosh,
No.
yeah.
I mean, there's no easy nights. It's a grind it out. You're gonna play a full 60. Physical. Every word you could think of just to say how tough it is to play that division. You got to stay.
You look at the points here, how the season ended, and there's 2 teams with 64 points. One of them made the playoffs, which was Minot, like you said. North Iowa right behind them, 62. Then you go back up a little bit. You have St. Cloud, 65. Aberdeen, 66. And then you guys had some space to work with 78.
Yeah.
But any given Friday, any given Saturday.
Yeah, no, it was wild, and you know what? Like for a lot of those teams, February and March is those are big months where you gotta you're telling your teams you want to get hot. We were getting back from top prospects, and we were trying to keep the guys just motivated to show up on the weekend and go. We got a 14 or 16 point lead, something like that.
Yeah.
I remember talking to I don't remember which college coach it was out at Top Prospects, but they were like, February's a real thing in junior hockey, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a real thing. A lot of these guys aren't used to going, that long in hockey, and their seasons are usually winding down right about now, and you guys are kind of hitting that last 15 to 20 game stretch, and it just kind of shows how long the season can get. And we were trying to motivate them. We got punched in the mouth a few times there, where we showed up to rinks thinking we were just going to go out there and kind of go through the motions, and the other team jumped on us. I mean, we took some lickings in our division, and that's what we love about the Central. And you guys, when we got the coaches that are in our division, they've been around the block.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a few of them that have won championships, and they're very, very good coaches. And if you take a couple of practices where you're not focused on one thing or the next, like they're definitely not doing that, and it's usually a chess match. You can find yourself getting eaten alive on face-offs, and just because a team's running a few more face-off plays, they changed up their forecheck on you, in between the second and third.
Right.
That's the Central Division. There's a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players, and it's a fun division to be in, and honestly, I owe a lot to the division. I think just being in this game, they definitely helped us. Series against Minot was a good one. They got a good thing going out there. I think the last 4 or 5 games that we were out there, they're sold out every game. It was just, it was crazy. Yeah. They did a great job, and obviously St. Cloud, Corey Millen's done a terrific job at the beginning of the season. I think that they were a little rough around the edges, and you can just see the development. He brought in a few extra players. There's some guys there, the deadline, that kind of changed their season around, and his assistant Brock Kautz is he's going to be a great coach. Mm-hmm. He was on the bench most of the time there with Corey being suspended, but they were a tough team to play against for sure. They had some injuries there at the end that kind of I think really hurt them. Yeah. Their captain Nick Hong was one of the better players we played against the last few years. I don't know if that guy ever really lost a face-off, especially against us, and we're pretty good in the face-off dot. But those type of guys, it's just kind of how the cookie crumbled this year. We were pretty fortunate to be able to get through there with some bumps and bruises. We definitely had some injuries along the way, but I think that's what makes good teams get to this spot is you got to fight through that adversity, and some guys have to step up, and we've had a lot of guys step up all year long, and that's why we're just excited to be here.
Well, you talked about the guys stepping up. Matisse Broussard, 14 points in 37 regular season games, 8 points in 10 playoff games. That whole line's been really good for you guys. Jackson Luther had a game winner. Isaac Broussard's obviously been involved in the offense a lot. Guys stepping up, that line's really been going for you.
Yeah, no, it has, and we laugh about it now, but I've told other guys we separated the two twins because usually if one was getting hit or in a scrum, the other one was coming over the top, and it was just like, you know what, we gotta keep these guys apart for a little while because they're going to cost us games if it's like that. And
Hanson brothers.
Yeah, kind of. And honestly, they're not far from that in the locker room either. When you come in and say something, they jump right on it, man. I mean, I could say the sky is blue, and they're like, yeah, the sky is blue. They're going nuts. It's pretty. They're fun. They're fun characters to be around. I'm telling you, if you guys want a fun podcast, you guys get those two on here. You guys will be laughing the entire time. Their energy all the time. That's just what they are.
Yeah.
And so when you put them back on a line together, and they played their whole lives together, one's a left shot, one's a right shot. It's like they complement each other really well. When I recruited them, we got word from a former. Well, he used to work with the Des Moines Buccaneers in the USHL, and they had originally drafted those two. And it was during COVID. They were like, hey, it's tough to get guys down or this, that, and the other, just because they have a lot of players to pick from in the USHL. And they were like, you should look at these two guys. And, yeah, we ended up getting them down here, and they've been a joy to have ever since. And, they're just a couple of I call them spider monkeys, man. They're ruthless. They go all over the place. They're not afraid of anything, anybody, nothing. And like I was getting back at the point I was trying to make was, when I recruited them, I was told Matisse he can score. He's a little bit more on the loose side when it comes to systems and stuff. And then Isaac is gonna he's gonna do your drills and your structure to the T.
Yeah.
And so that's the give and take with those two. It's fun to have a couple guys like that in your lineup. They're locker room guys. Everybody loves them. Our whole town loves them. Honestly, they're probably
celebrities.
Yeah, they are. They are. And most kids, it's they're the ones that always have to sign extra autographs and hang out for a little while. So it's fun to have.
Those post game skates, they're the ones that everyone's trying to get to, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, we put them back together for playoffs, and it's been good. Jackson Luther, really quiet kid, and what you see is what you get, man. He just, he goes unnoticed a little bit, but he's doing all the little things right, and then all of a sudden, boom, he pops in a big goal for you, or makes a big play, blocks a shot. He's been on our penalty kill all year, and we're just excited for him. That whole line's been great for us, and honestly, that's why we got those three together. They came together right at the right time. It was right before playoffs started. We were like, you know what, putting you three together, let's see how it goes.
When in the playoffs, your best players also have to be your best players. Walter Zacher, big couple goals last couple games. Austin Solani got it in one yesterday. Giuliani got in the fun. Morrissey's been one of the top performers in the playoffs. I kind of mentioned this earlier. We were talking to Garrett, but kind of Oklahoma's got those kind of guys that are a little flashy. Award winners, top of the thing. But Zacher and Morrissey, those guys, they just go about their business and maybe fly under the radar a little bit because they're not putting up the major point numbers, but they're still just getting the job done each and every night.
Yeah, no, and once again, I go back to our division. It's nothing against the South Division or anything like that. It's just it's tough. You can't just run into a night and those guys don't get hat tricks every. It's they chip in a goal or two here and there on a weekend. We're pretty excited because we're in a lot of 2-1, 3-2 battles all year, and I don't know how many games. It's something ridiculous how many of our games went to overtime. How many games were 1-goal games? There's some stats out there that just prove we didn't have we didn't have a guaranteed 4-point weekend going anywhere. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And once again, it goes back to our division. I think that plays a big part of that. Those guys, yeah, they might have flown under the radar, but you can just see the way they think the game and how they play it. We try to play a pretty structured game. And had that. I don't know if you want to call it a knock on my style of coaching or what, but it's some guys want to put the foot on the gas or step on someone's throat and keep going. And it's like at times I also want us to understand how to play with the lead too, and I think that's an important part, especially playoff style hockey. Like if you keep doing or keep cheating the game or you keep going in some aspects of the game, you can quickly get jumped on, and that's part of playing the game the right way. So I'm hoping that maybe that's a little bit of it too. Is we get up by a couple or 3 goals. I'm not kicking over the first power play unit, in the third period at the end of the game. I'm giving some other guys some chances at that point. We're maybe going to make sure we got 2D out there so they don't push the top and try to get a shorty on us. Just little things like that might be a little bit of the reason why I don't know that we've ever really had, that high flashy. Dante Sheriff was definitely a pretty flashy guy, and he was fun to watch. He was electric.
He had a little swag to him.
Yeah. But that was one of those probably. He was one of those few guys that probably gave a little bit more of that leash to go ahead and do his thing. With these guys here, though, they're college ready. That's the joy about coaching. Gavin Morrissey and Walter Zacher is we're excited to see what they do at the next level. So yeah, it's been a fun year with those guys. So
let's just kind of dive into this series that just wrapped up last night. The only game 3 we had, you guys took game 1, game 2 didn't go your way, and then game 3 you guys were pedal to the metal, and now we're here getting ready for this game tomorrow. Again, like I'll say again, we're recording Monday, games tomorrow, but just kind of talk about that series and just the intensity. Obviously, Maryland, they like to muck it up. They like to get grimy down there, and you guys had a lot of opportunities on the power play, a lot of chances, but things went your way, and you guys obviously came out victors.
Yeah,
it's called the Battle of the Bears. So remember that.
Yeah, that's right. The Battle of the Bears was it was fun. They were big, they were mean. It was kind of everything we thought it would be. It's our obvious plan is to all throughout playoffs is to play a disciplined game. During the regular season, we want to be the team that's sticking up for each other and doing those things. Like, we're not going to get pushed around, whatever. In the playoffs, I mean, you see it in the NHL on down, and I've been through enough of playoffs myself as a player. Like, there's nothing worse than taking a retaliation penalty or throwing the punch that the ref only saw that one, and the other guy might have done something to you, and all of a sudden your team loses that game because of you just being undisciplined. And that's one thing we were trying to make sure we did, and I was a little worried there playing them because they hit hard. Like, there was a few times where I was like, gosh, I just hope our guys keep going, because if you start hearing footsteps right now, it's not going to be good if you're looking over your shoulder every time you go for a puck. And I think that's what they were trying to get us to do. But hats off to our guys. Like we kept saying, you just got to keep going, guys. You got to take hits to make plays, and you got to just keep driving. And they did a great job of that. My players, they never quit. It was just, continue to win battles along the walls, continue to dig in corners, continue to put pucks in the right spots. And, at the end of the day, I think we ended up with quite a few power plays, and I think that's what hurt us on Saturday in game 2 there. We couldn't score on the power play. We had so many chances. They made a few adjustments, and we were just off that night. And their goalie was really on. Not to take anything away from him, but yeah, he played a really good game. And then obviously we got another big power play goal in game 3 there that really helped in that second period.
Well, you talked about being disciplined. We mentioned it earlier. It was just me and Brandon talking on the podcast that we have you guys mic'd up,
Yeah.
And we could hear it here. We could hear what you guys are saying. Not every single word, but Josh Giuliani took a slashing penalty in the third period of that game last night, right after you guys go up by 2, and you were giving it to him a little bit like never again. You can't do that. Like, it kind of goes to that discipline of especially you just took a 2-goal lead. The last thing you want to do is give them any momentum.
That's right. We literally just got done saying on the bench, like, no stick penalties, move your feet. Like, if a guy's got a step on you, don't just throw your stick out there because you get him caught in the spokes and boom, he's down. Next thing you know, we're killing. And honestly, like, that's where our kill did a great job there. They hit that extension and it went in the net and the one. But for us to go back and answer, that's kind of that adversity we talked about. Our guys have been battling through all year. But that's exactly it. You got to stay disciplined. Those times, and you got to understand what the scoreboard says. And I try to tell guys, because it took me a while. It was probably when I was playing junior in the NA, to be honest with you, when I finally had a coach made me realize like what the scoreboard, what the score clock says, and who I was playing against.
Yep.
Those things are so important. I think as a player, if you want a smart hockey player, he understands what's going on in the game and the game management piece, because there's so many guys that just go out there and they have no idea what's going on. I always use a baseball scenario. I was like, there's a guy on second and third and there's 2 outs and there's a base hit. What are you going to do with the ball? You know what I mean? Like, you need to know where you're going with it before the pitch is even made. And I think there's a lot of kids that aren't taught, the game management piece. And once again, we get back to Walter Zacher and Gavin Morrissey maybe not being, 100-point guys or whatever I guess they probably could have been if they maybe were playing somewhere else. That's not what we're about here. We're about teaching them how to play the right way and managing the game and understanding like when we need to press and when we need to defend a little bit, I thought the guys did a good job of that yesterday. Other than a couple of those penalties, that was all. I mean, I think Malinsky's, he kind of had to.
That was a good penalty.
Exactly.
If he doesn't do that, it's
stick.
breakaway.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and. My former boss would always say, like, we'll kill off the good ones. It's the bad ones that we struggle. Every team struggles with. It's usually kind of like that karma thing, right? You go take a bad penalty, you go out there and cross check somebody up high or punch them in the face. Yeah, it's usually gonna end up in the back of your net. You know what I mean? But that's where I was pretty pleased with our discipline so far, and we still have one more game, and I just gotta have trust that our guys are going to continue to do the same things.
You talk about the game management and the discipline. Like, punching a guy in the face is going to feel good for a second, but winning the game is going to feel good for a lifetime. So
that's right. Well, I tell the guys the biggest, and this is what the most purest moment of this game is the handshake line.
Honestly,
it is.
Yep,
it is. And you don't understand how many times that, as a player, as a coach, even like before that handshake line, you are like, if you were to ask me like weeks before, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely like shaking this guy's hand, maybe hold on to it for a second, look at him, whatever.
Be the tough guy.
You want to say this and say that at the end of the coach or whatever, but at the end it's just be classy and understand the professionalism there, and especially when the win happens every single time. Even last night I was just like, oh man, Maryland, great team, this, that. Loved talking to Clint. I was like, hey, next time, or if we get a chance, let's, sit down and grab a beer together and hang out for a bit. And I've known him for a long time. It's just, for those 3 days, like we never said a word to each other. Right. Our players were going at it pretty heavily, and I'm sure he was heated at times. I was heated at times, but then, you get to shake his hand at the end, and it's just all smiles. And for the most part, like, that is what you play the game for. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the satisfaction of why you play the game, and I've been on the other side of that many times, and it's a tough deal knowing that your season ended, and it's you put your blood, sweat, and tears into 8 months or 8.5 months now, and to get to this point, you're so close. It's one of those deals where unfortunately somebody's going to have to do that tomorrow, and it's a great moment in hockey when you get to go through that handshake line and knowing you either won or or if you lost, I mean, it's just you have to do it, right?
Right.
So
Got to show that respect one way or another.
Yeah.
that's it, and that's what it is. It's a respect thing. I mean, you could hate the other guy, but at the end, like you're shaking his hand, and you're even having a conversation after. It's just like it's kind of that release of everything we just went through, all the battles we just had. Like, all right, man, congrats, or hey, thanks for a good series.
Yeah. You've been here before. You've had had a few chances to take this thing home. Just talk about what makes this team this year different for you guys.
I think it's the locker room, our attitudes. Like, we got a good group of kids in there. I mean, when I say that, like, you look back in even my era, like we wanted to have fun, and it was not saying these guys don't want to have fun, but they're focused. They're a focused group. I don't have to worry about these guys at all, and they're going to do things the right way, and a big part of that, goes back to our captain, Jack Malinsky. He's like, I mean, if you had a daughter that brought Jack Malinsky home, I'm telling you, like, you would be the happiest dad ever. It's just, that's the type of kid he is. He's a all-around world-class kid, on and off the ice. Like, he's just a good person and a great leader. And followed up with Walter Zacher, Gavin Morrissey, Nate Luft, all of our veterans too. Like, you got Austin Solani, you got a lot of guys that they're here for the right reasons. They're all focused on hockey. Like, their thoughts of a good time, or they get together to watch playoff hockey at one of the guys' houses. Like, that's what they do for fun. And in years past, we've had some characters, and that's, sometimes hockey wasn't everything. And this group, it is. It's just it's a different type of mindset that these guys have, and you could see it from the beginning of the year. And I'm sure if you talk to any of the 4 teams that were here, they probably all could say similar things. It's just at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have this group together, and we got a couple more days to go here.
Well, we got to ask about tomorrow, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What do you know? Obviously, you've had your battles with Garrett Roth in the past in the Central Division, and you've been able to watch them play the last couple of days in person. What do you see in that team, and what's it going to take in order to be lifting up Chuck on tomorrow night?
Yeah, well, they're deep. They got a lot of depth. They got scoring, all 4 lines. They got D that can jump up in the play. They're a good hockey team. It's no secret. They've been the top of the league. I don't know since when, but it was definitely early on. They took off. I think we both went 4-0 at the showcase, and then they just never stopped. We had our ups and downs and our roller coasters. They might have had one little dip here or there, but for the most part, those guys have been rocking and rolling all year long. So we've seen a lot of the highlights throughout the year. We were like, who's this Del Greco kid? Pulling him up, like, wow, that was a nice goal. It's just like when you think about the NHL, we got 4 divisions, and we're not anywhere near really any of the teams in the South Division. So it's like they're in a whole nother league, and that's what the beauty of the NA is. I mean, really, back in my era, it was 4 divisions or 4 leagues, and then everybody would meet at the end for the nationals. But that's kind of what the NA is now. It's just, we call it divisions rather than different leagues. And so they were in another world. They're down there, and we're watching what they were doing and how they were doing it. And I mean, you got teams that are really strong defensively, like Lone Star, Shreveport, all those teams down there, they can play. They got good coaches. So when you start seeing them like sweep teams like that on weekends, and it's like, geez, all right, that'll wake you up a little bit. But we're doing our best right now to catch up. We obviously didn't want to look past Maryland. It's kind of been my thing all year long, is I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse. So we've stayed focused just on Maryland, and as soon as the game ended last night, our focus has been all Oklahoma, and let's start figuring out what they like to do, how they do it. It's going to be a good game. Honestly, it's going to come down to players right now. We're not reinventing the wheel in the last game here. It's they have their systems in place. We have ours. Garrett's obviously he was in Bismarck for a while there, but I wouldn't say they're playing the same exact way. He's put his own spin on things, and their guys have some talent. They can sting you on the power play. I even think they got a few shorthanded goals. They're good. I mean, you can't be sleepy on anything. Their face-offs they got good face-off plays. So, all that said, we're just gonna have to make it tough on them, and whoever imposes their will and shows their structure a little better and is able to I guess just execute. That's gonna be the team that's gonna win the game. And you're going to get chances here and there, but you got to score on them. You know what I mean?
You got to convert.
You got to convert, because in a one-game playoff, it's just about being opportunistic. And when you get that chance, do you convert? And
right.
That's what makes this Robertson Cup so fun. It's like everything you did, all of that, it all comes down to one game.
Yep.
60 minutes of hockey, maybe more.
Yeah, I bet like in training camp in August, you're like, if someone said, hey, 60 minutes, win or lose, you're all right, sign me up right now, and here you are.
Absolutely. I guarantee if I ask my guys, at the beginning of the year, hey, here's the deal, we're going to be sitting in this spot, would you take it? They'd say, heck yeah, coach, we'll take it. One game shot here, let's go.
Yeah, all comes down to tomorrow.
That's right.
One day off here today. You guys will be out there skating here soon, but anything else planned? You guys taking it easy today, or gonna go sightsee a little bit?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I guess you guys are from here, so you've seen it all.
Yeah, no, we're probably gonna relax. I think the guys have been enjoying the whole atmosphere and being in a hotel together. Like, you guys, the NA's done a great job with this event. Being honest with you, like we had thought a little bit about, like, okay, well, if the best case scenario happened and we were to win on Friday and Saturday, and the coaching staff had talked, like, should we maybe take advantage of being an hour and a half away from home and just jump on the bus, go right back after the game on Saturday, and let the guys sleep in their own beds for Saturday night, Sunday night, and then come back up here, eat lunch, and then jump out for practice. And it obviously didn't work out. We had to play a game 3, and that's, once again, we didn't say that to anybody really, because we didn't want to put the cart ahead of the horse.
Right.
But it was just a thought in our heads that we would maybe try to do something like that. But the guys love the atmosphere of just being in the hotel together right now, and understanding that there's like 5 days left, and they really didn't want to go do much. Like, it was like we'd go on little walks together or this, that, but they're watching playoff games inside our little conference room that we have going. They're hanging out together.
Yeah.
They know that it's kind of the last ride right here, and this team's never going to get put back together again. And it goes for all of them, but it just speaks volumes to the how close the teams are that are here. All the players are so tight knit. We brought that up to our captain. Just said, hey, what do you think about something like that? He was like, I think we just want to hang out. We want to be together right now. So, and once you get going back to the outside world in Austin, you kind of get out of our little bubble here. There's a lot of distractions. And, getting back to what's separated our team from teams in the past, we've done a good job of keeping out the distractions. So that's been nice. Nobody's crossed over into summertime mode yet.
It's getting a little tougher now. It's about 80 degrees out. It's nice out.
It is, but you know what? Hey, there's like 3 guys that live out in the country club. I'm a country club member. I haven't touched a golf club yet. And I told the guys, I said, you know what? That's something you got to do. I remember playing in the minors, and, we had fun, and I played in the South at a few great places with private golf courses. We golf all year long. Those were a little different, but when it comes time for playoffs, man, it was like the old adage, or it was kind of what you did. You signaled that they were going golfing, or grab a golf bag at the end of the season. We don't you know, we kind of told everybody, like, hey, just stay focused on hockey. Don't cross over into that side of things. You know, your friends, even your friends that are hockey players, are going to be back home for a month and a half. Like, you're going to be out of shape by the time you get home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're constantly talking and about what the lake life is like and what you guys are going to do this summer, it's
losing focus.
You're losing focus, man. You got to stay keep your eyes on the prize and keep going.
I mean, you got like 48 more hours. You just got locked in for
then
48
make
more
a tea
hours.
time. Make a tea time.
That's exactly it. That's
Yeah.
been the message. Yeah, we got to get past the Robbie Cup.
Yep.
And you know, Tuesday after we get done, you know, hopefully we have it, but it's Wednesday. We'll have to do exit meetings and.
Well, let's say Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Hopefully, you're planning the parade through Austin.
And then this will be a hell of a ball marker at your country club.
No
and I'll
kidding.
be expecting an invite. I'll teach you something new on the course.
Oh gosh, yeah, no doubt.
We'll play for that membership. I can commute.
I wonder if the general manager of the country club's gonna let me take that and put it on the green.
Heck of a ball marker.
Yeah, no, that would be
Awesome.
for sure.
Well, Steve, we appreciate your time. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us this year, and congratulations. And we're looking forward to a big game tomorrow.
Yeah,
Good luck.
thanks for having me on. This has been great. Appreciate it.
All right, episode 13 officially in the books. We should have put a microphone on Chuck so he could chime in.
Give his thoughts.
Yeah, give his thoughts and who he thinks he wants to have pick him up and toss him around and whatever you do with the trophy.
I'm sorry. Chuck is on. Chuck, do you know Chuck is on Instagram?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't follow him.
Oh well.
I will now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not really active right now because he's been in transit a lot. He's been hanging out. He's been out the Jersey Shore a lot.
Yeah, it's
so
true. He's been out east. Yeah. Well,
Poor guys. You know, he's well traveled. He's been where he's been. He's been in Shreveport. Been in New Jersey. He's in Aberdeen. He's been all over lately.
Texas a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day.
So I mean, he's gonna take a trip down 35. Whether he's gonna get off in Austin or he's gonna go all the way down to OKC, we'll have to find out later tonight. Or
Road
tomorrow
tripping
night.
with the Robbie.
Yep.
Road trip with Robbie. Anywho, appreciate everybody listening in. Again, game tonight on Tuesday, 7 o'clock, puck drop. Bruins, Warriors. Anything else you want to add?
I hope both teams have fun.
I do too. I hope it's good, clean hockey. Thanks again for tuning in. Episode 13 in the books. It's been Short Shifts, Brandon Hofstra, Vinny Paracelli, and Chuck.